Shalom, family. It's good to see you all. I hope everybody is doing well. Well, we're going to talk about the latest that's coming out of the Trump administration. They are issuing a threat to Russia, and he sent JD Vance over there and not incoherent Elon. So now you have the US telling Russia, either you end this war with Ukraine or we're going to send over US military and give Putin some US military action, which, look, they can do whatever the hell they want. Whatever they do, we don't get involved in none of their mess. We have not started one war on this planet. I don't know why we're in all of them. In the beginning, I certainly understood. Our people really was fighting for their freedom. They wanted to be free. Now that we have been in this system for hundreds of years, they just want to use us on the front lines of whatever they get jumped off. We're not concerned about what this country gets jumped off. Whatever they start, they can finish. They didn't want us in their military anyway. So give them exactly what they want. Give them what they want. Stay out of their mess. So now let's talk about what happened. JD Vance is over in Europe. and Trump sent him with a message. So there are, he did meet with Zelensky, and I don't know if y'all heard, but Donald Trump wants a lot of that money back that was sent to Zelensky. I don't think he's getting it back, but he wants a lot of the funds that were sent over to Ukraine. Donald Trump wants that money back. And dark skinned brother, thank you so much for your undying support. I did get your Cash App and I deeply appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about it, y'all. Let's talk about what's going down over in Europe, and JD Vance is there. I mean, this is like one of the few times we hear JD Vance's name in the media because he just completely gets overshadowed by Elon Musk these days. That's what's happening. So, JD Vance threatens Russia with sanctions and possible military action if Putin doesn't agree to end the Ukraine war. So, JD Vance declared Thursday that the US will consider sanctions and even military action if Russia Vladimir Putin refuses to end the nearly 3-year war in Ukraine. There are economic tools of leverage. There are, of course, military tools of leverage, and there could be deployed against Putin. Vance told the Wall Street Journal the possibility of sending U.S. troops to Ukraine is on the table, according to Vice President JD Vance. If the Kremlin fails to negotiate a settlement to the war in good faith, Vance's comments stand in contrast of the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. His remarks on Brussels on Wednesday, when during a meeting of Ukraine allies, he ruled out the possibility of U.S. boats on the ground. I'm sorry, boots on the ground in the war torn nation. Well, y'all could at least get on the same page. You're working for the same devil. You would think y'all would be on the same page. So Hegseth insisted that any security guarantees given to Ukraine to prevent a return to war with Russia after a peace deal must be backed by capable European and non European troops. The defense secretary told reporters that the concessions will be made, and what concessions will not be made will be up to President Donald Trump, according to the Wall Street Journal. Vance's remarks come a day before a critical meeting between Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky and a U.S. delegation, which is expected to include the Vice President, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and a special envoy, Keith Kellogg, will take place at the Munich Security Conference in Germany. And yeah, and I did see a picture of all of them together, even Marco Rubio, awkward looking ass. He was there too. So the meeting is expected to center on how to end the war. So the president is not going to go in this with blinders on, Vance said, of Trump's desire to broker a deal between Kyiv and Moscow. He's going to say everything on the table, let's make a deal. While Vance insisted that Ukraine maintains its independence would be required in any deal with Putin, he refused to say how much of the country's territory currently occupied by Russia would be allowed to remain controlled by the Kremlin. And Putin already said he ain't anything that he gained in that country, which he did gain a lot of ground in Ukraine. He's keeping all of that land. So he's not giving it up. So even if this ends, that means it's going to always be some degree of Russian troops in there. Whether Vladimir Zelensky likes it or not, they're going to always be there. There are any number of formulations and configurations, but we do care about Ukraine having sovereignty, independence. This is what JD Vance said. Vance suggested that those details, as well as whether the US or European nations would provide Kyiv with security guarantees, would be worked out during the peace talks. He also signaled that Trump could decide to put things on the table or take things off, depending on how the negotiations go. President Trump could say, look, we don't want this thing. We might not like this thing, but we're willing to put it back on the table if the Russians aren't being good negotiating partners, or there are things that are very important to Ukraine that we might want to take off the table, Vance said. So before Donald Trump took office, he did reach out to Vladimir Putin to ask him to end the war. And at that time, Vladimir Putin flat out refused. He said he wasn't ending the war. Trump 78 revealed Wednesday that he and Putin had agreed to start talks immediately to end the war. We want to stop the millions of deaths taking place in the war with Russia, Ukraine, the president posted on Truth Social. On Thursday, Trump told reporters that Ukraine would be a party to talks with Russia. So Ukraine is already agreeing to have these peace talks, a sticking point for Zelensky, while also expressing a desire to allow Russia back into the G7. So that's where it stands. So they're pretty much putting a lot of pressure on Putin to end the war. And, normally I would not care about something like this, but so many of our people are in the military. And of course, they would get caught up in the drama if this thing don't go well. Those are the only ones I'm concerned about. Actually, I don't care about Putin. I don't care about Zelensky. I don't care about JD Vance, and I sure don't care about Donald Trump. But I do care about the folks that are in the military and our families that could be impacted by this if it does not go well. That's all I'm concerned about. The rest of them, whatever. hmm Yeah, and we know the mercenaries that come out of the US have already been, because a couple of them got killed over there. So we do know there's always been Americans involved in that war. So no, that's definitely not anything new. hmm You know how Donald Trump is these days. He looks at that as wasteful spending, all the money that has been given to Ukraine, and Ukraine don't want to give one dime back. They have made a killing off of this war financially. Not only did they get money from America, they got money from multiple European nations. So that's a lot of money, a lot. And Joe Biden gave them more just before he left office. And they seem to be able to move this money and get it to him immediately while telling us there's no money for reparations. So we are hip to their game. We know they're full of crap. We know there's tons of money for reparations. We know just from Elon breaking into the US Treasury, they always have $6 trillion per year in there. All they got to do is break us off of some of that, and we can get this ball rolling on reparations. Mhm. Yeah. So that's all I care about in this whole thing. I don't want to see our people go over there and get caught up in, a war. And we know at the end of the day, these Gentiles don't give a crap about us. They don't care about us. And why should we continue to shed our blood for a bunch of people that don't care about us? The hell with them. Let them be on their own. You know what? All of them are criminals. All right. Don't get caught up with the Biden is a criminal and he need no Trump's ass need to be investigated too. With all this stuff he's allowing Elon to do, no, all of them are shady. These Republicans are shady too. The Democrats are shady. We should not trust any politician. And I've been saying this for many years on my channel. We should not trust anybody on the right or left. At the end of the day, one thing they got in common is they hate us. Okay, that is one thing they got in common. They hate us. That's why I don't choose either side because they don't have our best interests at heart. They never have, they never will. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, look, Elon just wants to see what kind of money each one of these departments have. So everyone he breaks into, he's finding out how much the department got because they want to when just before Trump leave office, you're going to hear about a lot of money going missing. A lot. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, Elon is there to help other rich people. That's all he's there for. He don't care about the American people. He's there to do what his people have done this entire time. He's there to mooch off of the people and get even richer. But he don't care about anybody but rich folks and other rich folks. That's it. That's all they are there for. They don't care about anybody else up in here. Why do you think he's sitting? A judge just said it was okay for Donald Trump to offer buyouts, and that buyout stuff came from Elon. Elon did that when he came into owning Twitter, and he didn't want all those people there. He didn't want to pay all them salaries, so he bought people out, and that whole concept came from him. As soon as I heard buyout, I knew instantly that came from Elon. You didn't hear Donald Trump talking like that in his first term. That's why I was saying even before he got in office, I said, look, the person that's coming back in office is not going to be anything like he was back in 2016. And you can see he's nothing like that. He is very different from the president he was back then. And we know Elon is controlling him, and all that stuff Elon's son said that he heard Elon and other adults talking. They're just completely making a fool out of Donald Trump. But I do agree. Let's see how long this love affair between him and Elon um last. We know they're gonna fall out. There's no doubt about it. I just even looking at that press conference, you could tell Donald Trump did not want that press conference up in the Oval Office with Elon and his son there. But he sat silent. But his expressions said it all. Donald Trump was not happy with that. And they said one thing about Donald Trump, you can't even come in the Oval Office unless you are properly dressed, and that's in a suit and tie. And we saw Elon didn't even have that on. Donald Trump was it looked like it took all that he had to just stay calm in that moment. But it was very clear he did not, at least from what I saw, the expression on his face, he was not happy with Elon and that little runt in the office, in the Oval Office, especially talking to the press. Oh yeah, it's a matter of time, and we know it's coming. We know it's coming. You know, two big egos like that around each other every day. Mm-mm. Something's going to give. Yeah, his little nose picking boy. Yeah. That little boy was standing next to Donald Trump's desk picking his nose and then wiping it on the desk. That little boy is nasty. But you know what, y'all? That is the behavior that you see from most rich children. They have no decorum. You know, in reality, us people that have a lot less do a better job at raising our children. Rich people, I haven't seen them raise anything that's halfway decent. What they do is raise children just as arrogant as they are. That's usually what they do. And by the time that little boy becomes Elon's age, he gonna turn on his own father. You watch. He gonna be falling out with Elon, and that's usually the case. Because Elon, if you go back and look at his background, he fell out with his father to the point where he hasn't been back to South Africa since he left. Elon has not been back to South Africa. When he left out of there, he went to Canada first. And then from Canada, he came into the United States. He has not returned back to South Africa at all, and he fell out with his dad. And that little runt that he's walking around with one day is going to fall out with him. You watch. That little boy going to give him hell because that's what they raise. That's what rich people raise. Even Donald Trump was like that. His parents put him in military school because he got so badly out of control at home. His mom and dad put Donald Trump in military school, you know? And I'm starting to hear a lot of complaints about these raids that they're doing. They're doing all these mass deportation raids, and people are saying we're the illegal white people from Europe because we got illegal Russians and illegal people from Europe over here, and they're not being touched. They're not being touched. The only ones they're going after are the black and brown illegals. And people are starting to say something about that. There's a lot of illegal Canadians. I worked with a few of them. There were, in the last job I had, there were a couple of white people from Canada that were here, and they were here illegally. And they were working at the same company I was at. So, yeah, those folks are going untouched, and only the black and brown people and the Asians also, because they are getting the Asians out of here as well. So anybody that's non-white, you're being deported. If you are a white illegal, they're leaving you alone. Y'all don't see them rounding up these Ukrainians or Russians or any of these folks from Europe. You don't see them. I saw a video of a white woman. She is American, and the man she married was here illegally from the UK, and they're not even bothering them. They're not bothering them at all. which none of us should be shocked. I mean, any time Elon is talking about just let the white South Africans come, not the others. I mean, come on, come on, they're gonna be racist in how they remove the people, and they are, and that question is now being raised, but it ain't gonna go nowhere, y'all. It ain't going nowhere. This government is gonna be who and what they have been all this time. That's all I expect from them. Mhm. And the thing is, Elon has it, this comment about they're taking land from white farmers. Over in South Africa said that ain't even going on. And it just goes to show you how out of touch Elon is with his home, well, what they call his home country, which is not South Africa. We know it's over in Europe, but it just goes to show how out of touch he is with what's going on over there. He don't even know what's going over there. He ain't been over there in decades since he left. He was a teenager when he left. So he don't know what's really going on over in South Africa. He's full of crap. Okay, so dark skinned brother, thank you for the super sticker. Mike C, thank you for the super sticker. Dark skinned brother, thank you again for the super sticker. Monica Gregory, thank you for the super sticker. And I love my HIU. Thank you for the super chat. Elon must have planted one of those chips in Trump's. Pay attention. Yeah, Donald Trump is acting weird, but we kind of gather, most of us that got a little sense, we know Elon pushed his way in with money. We know that. We know that. Now, how that money exchange went down, I don't know. I don't know if Donald Trump done got paid. That's why he's so silent, because it sure appears that way. Or Elon promised him money in stages where he got a little bit coming in and he'll get more and get the rest. Or by the time he gets to the end of his term, he'll get even more money from him. So we don't know how that deal went down, but something definitely went down as far as money is concerned. And Elon seems to think he is running things, and he is acting like a man that's running things. Grace P, thank you for the super sticker. You don't know, but it's definitely a money transaction. We just don't know how this money transaction was done. hmm But they could technically, if they really wanted to shut Elon down, they could. All they got to do is cancel every single one of those government contracts he got, cancel all of them. And that's it. Once you do that, what is Elon going to do? You will literally destroy him as a billionaire. Once you take all that money, he ain't going to be no billionaire anymore. Because he got all of his money through the US government. So if you that's what I would do to him. I cut every last, oh, you staying? Okay, well, you're gonna be staying without these contracts. I know how to deal with Elon. I'd cancel every single one. And they can do it. Congress can do it. Congress can cancel every last one of those big major contracts he got. Cut them off. Plain and simple. No, he's a welfare recipient. He's a welfare recipient. That's what Elon is. He's the most expensive welfare recipient in America. That's how I would define Elon. Well, see, that's the whole point. They want to destroy the government. And that's why they're doing the things that they're doing. And you see Donald Trump, every little destructive thing Elon does, because Elon's like a big kid to me. He's not adult like at all. And everything they do, Donald Trump is just looking the other way. And he's running around with a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds. That's who he hired for Doge, 18 and 19. I mean, it just the man is just a big kid. That's what he is, a big child. So, y'all, yeah, he's an apartheid baby. That's what he is. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, dark skinned brother, you ain't never lie. He is on drugs because let me tell you something. I have been around addicts before. And one thing I notice, the one thing that always stand out about them, they talk very incoherently, you know. And Elon was talking to the press, but he really wasn't saying anything. It was just a bunch of word salad. It really pay close attention to him when he talks. And that's one of the things you will notice when you are around somebody addicted to drugs. They talk incoherently. Nothing they say makes any sense. And that's what I'm picking up from Elon. It is just a bunch of word salad coming out of his mouth, and nothing is it's just a bunch of incoherent babble that he's doing. Yeah, I mean, every now and then something might make a little sense, but for the most part, it's just a bunch of endless babbling. That's all it is. So, everybody, please enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll definitely come back on another topic. Shalom, family.